Good day, dear friends. Welcome to this thing of ours. Today's topic, MAGA isn't dead. It's just getting started. Don't be fooled by the noise. This is good news. That doesn't mean President Trump has to or should trust these people in any way whatsoever, but that's a different story altogether. Let us not lose sight of the fact of what we are doing. Let us not lose sight of the mission. But today will be a critical appraisal of what the president needs to do. And I hope no one takes offense at it or by it or through it or with it, because sometimes people get very upset. But the president does some things that are very, well, kind of interesting. And he needs to focus on a couple of things. Number one, I think all of us realize something very, very simple. And that simply is this. There are people who are telling him what to do who do not have his best interest at heart and in mind. They don't. There are people who basically want him to do everything up to and including bombing Iran for purposes that do not necessarily benefit the United States. I think we know what we're talking about. Don't be upset. There are people who think that pursuing this, we knew about these battle or these bomb assessments for the longest time that said no, this is not the complete destruction and ruination of anything and everything to do with Iran. We know that. We said this the other day, but he's going crazy. Don't say this. And Caroline Leavitt, who I'm starting to get a little tired of, she needs to fine-tune the act. She's jumping in. Mr. President, just let it go. You're going to be made to sound like an idiot if they say, no, look, this is what happens. He's doubling down because somebody is daring to question him. So, dear friends, listen carefully. Listen carefully to the noise. Listen carefully to the news. And listen carefully to what we're talking about. And before we begin, let me also make sure that you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Lionel Nation, make sure you are. Speak English. Make sure you are subscribed. But before we begin, my friends, this critical and important message, copper inventories are scraping 15-year lows, just as Washington floats import tariffs. The U.S. growth machine runs on metal it barely controls. Every EV line, data center build, and power grid upgrade risks choking on supply gaps. Cost spike, project stall, investors eat the squeeze. Miss the window, and you're funding someone else's margin. Giant Mining Corp's Majuba Hill District in Nevada is built for this moment. 9,800 acres with highway, rail, power, gas, and fiber already on the claims. Recent core drilling sliced a 170-foot zone averaging 0.4% copper, crowned by a 10-foot streak at 4.4. Grades majors pay billions for. An AI-driven model just lit up new conductors, and independent engineers are already building resource estimates while rivals drown in red tape. Phase 2 rigs roll this quarter. Speed wins the super cycle, and Majuba is built for speed. Dig deeper at giantminingcorp.com, on the OTC at BFGFF in the US and BFG in Canada. Now, my friends, let's talk about a couple of things here, and I think all of us understand this, okay? First and foremost, I'm so glad to see the president, I believe, finally turn his back on the idiocy, the absolute and total idiocy that is this nonsense of going after Iran or Iran. Sherilyn Campbell joins us. Sherilyn, thank you so much. Welcome. Have a slice of crumb cake. You're part of the magic, part of the fun. You're part of the family. Let me just begin by saying this. You can think whatever you want, sir. You can think whatever you want, and we can go into the specifics without getting too specific, because people really get upset. And the president never likes to have people tell him that he's wrong, but he is absolutely, positively, 100% wrong. Wrong in so many respects, sir, regarding what is going on. Now, I don't know how to say this in any other way than this. Mr. President, please recognize a couple of things. Good sir. There are folks who have nothing to do with your best interest or ours. They have there is nothing to do with your or our best interest, sir. Nothing. They want you and the United States to do their job in destroying Iran. Now, I'm not saying Iran's a good bunch of people. I'm not saying that we don't in any way benefit somehow from this. I'm not saying this. I am not saying this in the least. I'm not saying they are to be, quote, trusted or anything along those lines. I am not saying it. Please, dear friends, please, I ask you, do not think I am suggesting this or saying that this is great, everything is groovy, and we have nothing to worry. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that we have to realize who our enemies are, the United States. And this notion of America first, this isn't just some spiffy statement. This is something even more important. This is more than just a kind of a pithy phrase. It's critical. Now, when I talk to people, and they talk the same things, they will say to you and others, what about Iran? Don't you think we should watch? They say death to America. Terrible. Terrible. But declare war on them? No. They say terrible things as to us. Should we be happy about that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Should we go to war? Definitely. Absolutely not. So what is this about? It's hard to say exactly what it is. It's hard to say specifically what the reasons behind it are, but it's critical for you and everybody to note that we are not going to go to war. Now, I don't know where this thing started from, and I don't know there's a lot of folks aligning themselves and claiming that they're upset with the president. All of a sudden, look who it is. It's like Candace Owens. Candace Owens is upset because of the whatever. Candace Owens doesn't like what happened. Okay, thank you very much. Candace Owens doesn't like any of this stuff. I don't know. How do I say this? I don't know if this is going to bother you, but I don't care what people say about them anymore. I really, honest to God, don't care what anybody says. I know this is something which is problematic. I know people don't really like to hear this. I know people don't like to me to make this personal, but I never signed on. I never voted for any of these people for anything. And I know they're doing a good job. And people say, but I like Candace. I like Candace. And I hear this a lot. But I like Candace. Well, I do too. She's fine. And people take it very seriously. Like, this is your boyfriend or girlfriend, or this is... I don't really understand it. I don't know how this thing works. But I will tell you, and this is important for me to tell you, and explicate to you in different ways. We are not going to find ourselves in the position of going to war because of the fact that somebody said something untoward towards us. And I know you know this. And I know you agree 100%. Now, as of yesterday, we saw this because we are different, my friends. We are different. We saw from the works and the words and the thoughts of Judge Napolitano and others. We saw from him and from every one of his guests. You go from John Mearsheimer to Alistair Cook to Scott Ritter. They all said that Iran's nuclear facilities were basically left pretty much intact. Laurie says he's an a-hole, but he's our a-hole as we love him. Yes. Somebody today, our good friend this morning, before the show, a good friend, Sparky, weighed in and said, he's okay. He's this and that. He said, but you know what? He might not be, what am I saying this? He said he might not be a genius. He might not be somebody that you want. He might not do well in trivia or world history, but he's not an idiot. He's not stupid. He's not a fool. And nobody says he is. It's critical that we understand this. But he keeps setting himself up. Now, I'm also telling you, Caroline Levitt has got to reel it in a little bit. Now, remember, when I say this, people will say, oh, yeah, well, Karine Jean-Pierre was worse. I don't know what that means. I don't know why I have to be better or worse than Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre was horrible. Karine Jean-Pierre was absolutely disgusting. But that is not an excuse for me to say. That is not an excuse for me to weigh in and say something to the effect of, well, you know what? Since she was bad, since she was terrible, since she was this, I'm going to say, well, we're not going to say anything. Why? Well, because she was worse. No, I know that. I don't. That's like saying, well, Obama bombed people. That doesn't mean anything. Look, we know this. And the reason why we know it is that this is illogical. It doesn't make any sense. We don't care what Obama said. In fact, that should be a better reason not to do it, since even he did it. Somewhere along the lines, my friend, we have to ask ourselves a couple of things. We have to ask ourselves this, and that is simply this. When did we lose our sense of what is and is not political theater, or political theory rather, and what's kind of like, who's our favorite? You know, for those of you of a certain age, you might remember that Bobby Sherman passed away, of all things. Bobby Sherman. Oh, Julie, do you love me? And good, good. I liked old Bobby Sherman, and you know, that's great. And I think that's terrific. But Bobby Sherman was a heartthrob of the 70s, if you will. Donald Trump is turning kind of into a heartthrob now. And it's sad to see this, and sad to say people are becoming a little bit, I don't know, into this whole thing. He's MAGA. Look, he's a human being. He's still the best damn president I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I'm not going to let anybody tell me otherwise. I think he is fantastic. He is without a doubt the best president I've seen. And there's no doubt about it. But I want people to understand that it is incumbent upon me to remind folks, and you and everyone else, that, how do we say this? There's going to be a day of reckoning here as to a certain country by the name of Israel. And they have tried everything in the book to try to juxtapose and to connect what we are doing and what we are saying with anti-Semitism. Let's officially put to death and bury this idea, this ridiculous thought that what we are saying is something against Judaism. Okay? It is not ever happening. Understand that? It is not happening. We're not buying this anymore. They are lying. Tucker Carlson and others are making the connection of Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin for the umpteenth time. You know, a lot of other people too were very, very adamantly in that particular, and not just people who are pro-Israel. There's nothing, you can be pro-Israel, but when you are pro-Israel to the point that you are obstructionist, that you turn against. When Tammy Bruce, did you hear her say this is the greatest country next to Israel? What is happening here? What is happening? There's someone who writes here a very, very interesting point. You can't fix the Middle East. You don't want to fix the Middle East. There is no fixing. What you want is, let's use a medical term, a cure. A cure. There is no cure. People sometimes have used the analogy of people having high A1C numbers, or being insulin dependent, having diabetes, and then by virtue of diet or medication or whatever it is, they lower dramatically A1C numbers to the point where they're non-diabetic. And doctors will say, well, did you cure it? Well, you didn't cure it, but you don't need insulin. You have these numbers that are actually non-diabetic. So then we get into arguments of, well, are we containing it? Are we? I don't know. But we're treating it. And a lot of things we do with our systems, we try to treat. If you have hyperlipidemia, you treat it. You don't cure. We're not going to eliminate your propensity or problems. We're not going to do that. Israel came along and for 20 years, easy, Bibi Netanyahu, and you can see him online. You can see him on X today saying, we own the House, we own the Senate, we own America. We can tell them what to do. We own their public opinion. If we can get somebody to do our job for us, we're going to do it. Do you see any problem with that? No. I almost expect it. I almost expect it. And I would be surprised if, frankly, we didn't see that, if that makes any sense. Now, don't get angry. Don't be like Anna Kasparian or whatever her name is, or junk yogurt or whatever it is. Don't. Even Candace Owens gets very Israel. She is street and the street and is struck. We struck with a street and okay. Take it easy. Just do this. No. During Vietnam, do you think containing communism is a good idea? I think so. Lori Cook says, thanks for Charles Ortel interview. Great. Oh, he was great without a doubt. He was great. Thank you for that. Do you hear what I'm saying? During Vietnam, do you think it's a good idea to try to get a grip on communism? Absolutely. Going to Vietnam? No. Do you think Ho Chi Minh and Southeast Asia are a problem? Yeah. Go to war? No. Unless you are the military-industrial complex. We have to worry about things in this country. New York is still reeling over the sense of Zoran Mamdani, who won the Democratic nomination. And he's up against Curtis Lewa. And Zoran Mamdani is going to win. He is going to be the mayor of New York City. And if ever there was the scariest left-winger of all time, he is it. And are we putting together our political wherewithal and capital to deal with that? No, we're not. What are we doing? We're talking about stuff. I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't know what we're talking about. But my friends, my dear friends, my great friends, my friends, and I mean that you are my friends, we have to deal with things rationally. We have to take care of things one issue at a time. And we have to understand a few things here. This is very, very simple. We're maybe going to put, I hope, to bed this idea, this absolute mindless connection to Bibi Netanyahu. Sparky writes, President Trump may very well be a genius, but how do you fool a genius? Give them a false premise and facts to work with. Sir, this is the situation, and these are the problems, but it's a work. Absolutely. By the your line is great. Your line is great. He's a genius, but I wouldn't want him to do trivia, I believe you said, on or regarding history. Laurie says, my grandpa was in World War II. He told me he couldn't think of any good reason for another war. I'm with you. I'm with you. War is like nothing else. It is completely different. As you know, it is different than anything else. It is different. It is horrible. It is beyond terrible. Beyond horrible, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the president to maybe focus on things like China, the focuses of things that really do affect this country. This is important. We have to ask ourselves, what is it that we're trying to do, Mr. President? What is it that we're actually trying to do, good sir? What are we trying to do in the name of Jesus? What are we trying to do? Well, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things which are critical. I'm going to be talking about other issues today which make the most sense. And I'm going to do everything in my power to pray that theoretically pray, that this president does everything in his power to do the right thing. I think he's a good man, but I think he must finally recognize the fact, and as we've been saying, Mr. President, sir, you're being lied to. And there are people in your cabinet, and there are nincompoops, sir. There are people who are on, for whatever it's worth, and Tucker Carlson brought it up, they're on the AIPAC payroll. If this is heretical to you, if this is shocking, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. If this is truly shocking to you, I don't know what to say. But I will tell you this is important for people to understand. We're going from now on to call things as they are, as what call a spade a spade. And the president should have said nothing about those pictures. They should, Mr. President, come here for a second, pardon me. Everything they're saying about Iran is true. You didn't lay a finger on it. Isfahan, and the Dons, they were already destroyed by Israel. And Fodo, whatever. This is done. They moved everything. You told them. You warned them. You warned them. You told them, this is what you're going to do. Fordo is gone. They moved everything. Sir, there's nothing there. And you're going to be hearing things. You're going to be hearing, maybe seeing even pictures. Maybe you're going to hear things to the exactly antithetical to this. But what I'm saying to you, my friend, is simply this. I hope this is a wake-up call. And I hope our good president realizes I can't trust these people anymore. I can't trust him. And I'm going to return back to what we elected him for. It's that simple. There's nothing complicated. You can read these. Everything else we can argue about, whether he's in NATO. We're missing the fact that he should be telling NATO, this is the last time I'm coming. You are an albatross around our neck. You do nothing for us. You want me to have another war. You want us to fight Putin. And Zelensky, that fraud who was there, is getting away with murder. Sparky says and writes, very simply, he says, war is a racket. You may quote me on that. And Mr. Butler as well. Thank you, Sparko. You were 100% this morning before the early morning show on ABC. We were doing this, and Sparky regaled us with his genius. He's absolutely true. Absolutely correct. So I want people to understand and grasp a few things here. I want you to put things into perspective and really understand how things work. It's very, very simple. We know what's right, Mr. President. You stick with us. We're very, very consistent. We believe in this country first. We believe in supporting this country and protecting this country and doing everything to keep America safe, America whole, America solid. That's what we want, sir. Everything else is a complete and total waste of time. Do you understand this? NATO wants our assets, our treasure, our young men and women. We're not going to let it happen. We are not going to let it happen, good sir. We trust you. We believe in you, but we are not going to let this happen. It is that simple. And more importantly, what is the most critical for everything, for everybody to understand? It's over. We're finally getting to the point, maybe, where people they've just awakened. Israel should always be an ally, but not an encumbrance, not an albatross, not some white elephant, not some ball and chain that we must adhere and to connect with. That's all. It's a very simple concept. Very, 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 very simple. That's it. That's all it takes. And that's all we have to worry about. So, Mr. President, again, we thank you for everything you're doing and everything you're done. But you've got to understand something. And that Caroline Levitt, pay attention to her social media, Mr. President. She's starting to get away. She was this young woman. And you notice how everybody's crucifix is getting larger, everybody's flag lapel. I have a very hard time when somebody's religion becomes front and center, not just tasteful jewelry, but something that just overwhelms. That is a signal to you that says, I'm a member of the club. Christians are wonderful. Being a Christian or a Catholic or whatever is great, but enough is enough. Religion gets you into problems. Religion gets you politically. Because is your religion going to get in the way of abortion legislation or the ability to argue it? We must remain focused and cogent. We must remain able to focus and to look at specifically all that matters, all that is critical. We have to be able to focus on what is happening here. And we have to understand some very, very simple concepts. This is the ultimate expression of power that a country involves itself in, and that is war. And war ultimately involves not just air superiority. No regime change, whatever that means, has ever happened without going in with boots on the ground and infantry and American lives. Do I and we make that clear, Mr. President? Do we make that clear? That's all we want to tell you. We have been behind you the whole time. I can't say it enough. But you're being set up. And Mark Levin and this loud echo chamber. And listen, I'm telling you, Tucker is so spot on. Tucker was on with Clayton Morris, and they had a great and most important talk. Because Fox News, say what you want, ain't just some news network. It's bigger than anything you can imagine. And that's why we've got to remain focused. So who's with me? Is everybody on us? Is everybody on the same page? We have not lost the president. The president has not lost us. I think he's learned a lesson. I think sometimes he wants to be things he isn't. He wants to be the general. He wants to be the leader. He wants to be bigger and badder and anything you can imagine. Look at this. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner lead the A-list arrivals in Venice in head of the Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez $48 million wedding. He's marrying that thing. This just in, Trump compares Iran's strike to atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as Tehran reveals extent of damage to nuclear labs. Sorry. You know when that was happening. The president's also got to be very, very careful. Netflix star is arrested for unhinged threats to Joe Rogan after ominously turning up in commentator's hometown. This is that lunatic who wears those fake, I think he has like fake abs. I don't know what his story is. What is his name? The disgraced Netflix star. This rant. He was found in Austin and booked into Travis County Jail. What is his name? He has some crazy name. His name is a disgrace. Oh, the Liver King. Okay. A lot of crazy people out there. And by the by, when it comes to Joe Rogan, he has never sounded better in his life. Never, ever, ever, ever. He's never sounded ever better in his life. Kash Patel claims he has proof FBI bosses buried evidence that China interfered in 2020 election and vows to take action. You better do it. You better do it. This is the most important thing, because just do it. Don't announce it. That's the thing which I don't announce it. That's all. Tucker Carlson unleashes stunning insult on Fox News icon while blasting network's Iran coverage. Good for him. It makes me happy to see this. I want to see this. I want to see the reality of this. I want to see phonies exposed for what they are. Did you see this monster film in Russia who threw a toddler to the ground, admitting he selected the child at random and wanted to kill him as the boy continues to fight for his life? What is happening with this? Insiders reveal how J.D. Vance has adapted to navigate Trump's many curveballs, including Iran bombshell. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. Trump has a royal love fest with Dutch Queen Maxima as he arrives in the Netherlands. That's the new heartthrob, Maxima. Unbelievable. White House official makes jaw-dropping claim about nuclear strikes before hitting debate as Trump rages in all caps. This is so silly. Absolutely so silly. We also see, by the way, this is important. This is critical. Well, critical, sort of. The Diddy defense has ended, has rested. I think 23, by the way, I was reading from the Daily Mail, just reading some headlines. The Diddy case has pretty much closed, and they have closed without, or they've rested without really putting on any evidence. Does that make sense? We shall see, ladies and germs. We shall see. So, in any event, I hope everybody is still with us and understands the focus of what's happening. I hope everybody remains on board. Do not lose faith. Do not lose faith, my friends. Do not lose faith. Do not lose the ability to focus what is happening. Sparky said, had a brilliant electronics teacher over 50 years ago. He believed everything supermarket tablets printed because he worked on the mistaken premise. They can't print something that isn't true. I know that. In the case, as you know, Sparky, of President Trump, he wants things to be true because if what he believes is true, then he is the genius. He is Saladin. He is the great of the great. He is beyond, whatever. He wants to be a hero. He wants to be larger than life, and I appreciate that. And to us, he is. He doesn't need to do this. That's all. Put an end to this nonsense. All right, friends, let me remind you, July the 19th at the Cutting Room. Tickets are available. You can see it right there. Make sure you follow Mrs. L. Make sure you follow me. I'm going to be doing a lot more. I've got more interviews and things that I'm going to be posting. Please accept my thanks for your support. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are a part of this because it's one of those things we must do. Let me also remind you that every morning, Monday overnights, 1 to 5 a.m. Eastern Time on WABC, 77 WABC. Join the fun, join the frolic, join the mayhem. It is something to behold. And until we speak again, my friends, again, thanking you for your support and your kindness and your beneficence, I leave you with this valedictory. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dat.